What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. My name is Junior Fa, ex-professional boxer. Justice Huni, 5-year Wardley. The fight just finished. 5-year Wardley knocks out Justice Huni. Now, before we get into that, we're going to go back into what actually happened in the lead up. So we had 5-year Wardley versus Jarrell Miller. Jarrell Miller pulled out due to, what was it, a shoulder injury or a hand injury or something? What Team Wardley does next is very impressive. They call up Justice Huni and his team. Also, Team Huni does something very impressive too. So they both accepted to fight each other. That shows a level of confidence, not just with the boys, but with the teams of backing their fighter. To put these two in a position to fight each other at this stage of their career is quite early, in my opinion. They don't need to fight each other just yet. They did. It was a great night. But before that, they really didn't need to. If I was in Wardley's team, I probably would have preferred a name over a prospect because you get a lot more return. Obviously, it all paid out. But at what cost? We'll speak about that later. So you have both teams coming into the fight. Justice Huni was given like 5 or 6 weeks notice and put on a great performance against a big hitter like 5-year Wardley, especially in his hometown. That part was interesting in itself. In the lead up, you hear a lot of talk from people. I've said this before. Commentators and boxing experts from the Northern Hemisphere really don't regard any boxers from the Southern Hemisphere. They just kind of disregard them because it kind of makes sense. Boxing is up there. It's in the UK, it's in Europe, it's in America. It doesn't really have anything to do with the Southern Hemisphere, really. And so when they learned about Justice Huni, it seemed like a new name to them. So they didn't really do their due diligence into seeing what he's actually accomplished and how he fights and who he's fought. The guys down here, we spoke very highly of Justice Huni. The guys up there, they spoke very highly about 5-year Wardley. So he gets the call up. That's like 5 weeks away. He says yes because you don't really get this type of opportunity. Why not take it when it's presented to you? Fair call. Now, on the night, the fight starts. Justice Huni, 5-year Wardley meet in the middle of the ring. And you can instantly see a difference with the speed and the fluidity of Justice Huni. Justice Huni is a very fluid boxer, and he mixes that with a lot of explosiveness. You see quite an opposite stance with 5-year Wardley. He's quite static, but he explodes. In the first round, there's not too much in it. You see a little bit of work from Huni, and you see a right hand from 5-year Wardley. At the start of the round, he threw a right hand just to let him know. And then he catches Huni at the end of the first round. And according to Huni, that does buzz him a little bit. Round 2 is probably the most competitive round. It was a back and forth round. I actually scored it for Wardley. I gave the first round to Wardley as well, only because he's got a hometown bias. I gave it to Huni, but I was like, they're probably going to give it to the homeboy anyway. Didn't really need the scorecards in the end, did we? But then all the way through from round 3 to round 9, it was all Huni by a vast margin too, because the rounds were not competitive. You'll get a little bit of shots from 5-year Wardley, but he would look very discouraged because of the speed and the intelligence and the counter-punching techniques from Justice Huni. You would see 5-year throw something, then it would get countered. 5-year will kind of step back, Huni would bridge the gap. And so he was running out of ideas, and you saw the motivation really start to seep out of 5-year Wardley, and rightfully so. Like, nothing's working. I'm throwing this, it's not landing, it's missing, and he's capitalizing on it. That is very, very hard to deal with. Justice Huni was so much better, but 5-year Wardley's just got that toughness in him that you can't teach. In round 10, it starts off. I remember thinking there was a part of round 10 in the beginning where both of them are posturing up, and 5-year Wardley extends his hand like this, and Justice Huni is right at the end of that range. I didn't like that because with power punches, you don't let them sit. You can't let them sit. You have to keep pushing them. Once they're set, they can throw. You don't give them that chance. That's why throughout the rounds you would see Fabio Wardley constantly moving back towards the ropes. That must have been part of their game plan, was that you have to move the power puncher. You can't let his feet set, otherwise he's good to go and he's going to fire the right hand. Even though Fabio Wardley did fire a few right hands before that were just unsuccessful, Justice was too alert for that. Round 10 comes along, a little lapse of focus with Justice Huni, and he gets caught coming in. He drops to the ground, the ref counts to 10, waves it off. Winner is Fabio Wardley. The count on the other hand. So, I can't help to think, I know this isn't pragmatic at all, but because the fight's over, I shouldn't really be crying about this because this really doesn't change anything. But it's important to highlight that if Fabio Wardley was the one who got dropped, and if he was winning the fight the way Justice was, if it was like one-way traffic, Fabio Wardley was winning all those rounds and he gets dropped heavily and he gets up by 10, they would have given him a chance and continued the fight. When Justice Huni went down, the count started, he got up at 10. The referee waved it off. When you're winning, in a fight like this, when you're winning, when the fight is so one-sided, you have to give him a chance. He's winning. The only reason why you're not giving him a chance is because he's beating up the homeboy. He's beating up the favorite. This was Fabio Wardley's homecoming. This is a big event for him. He's getting beaten up. He drops a guy. You count to 10. You wave it off, you know? That kind of seems like the right thing to do for things to play out the way it should be. I can't help to think that Justice and his team were hard done by on this. Do I think if the fight continued, Justice Huni wouldn't have been caught again? I don't know, but I think you robbed them both of that opportunity. It would have been interesting to see if Justice would have been able to recover and use his movement and his intuition and his craftiness to avoid another big shot. Fabio Wardley is a great finisher. He's got great power, you know, so he would have been like looking for the kill. It would have been great also for the crowd to get behind that as well, because literally you hear the crowd maybe cheer one time in the third or second round. Apart from that, it was silent. It was silent. Justice Huni was just taking over. There was nothing for the crowd to cheer because their boy was getting beat up. Anyway, the fight ends. Justice Huni loses, he gets counted out, the referee waves it off, Fabio Wardley wins by KO. Great win for him. Does his boxing stock rise? Not necessarily. It wasn't a great performance by Fabio Wardley, but it was a great performance by Justice Huni. So this was great exposure for Justice, but then also a great win for Fabio because he beat someone so crafty and so skilled like Justice Huni. He got to display his toughness, he got to display his power. Justice Huni got to display his skills, his speed, his timing, and his craftiness. So it was a win from both ends, but ultimately Justice Huni walks away with a loss on his record. What's next? I don't know. Justice Huni will probably have to go and fight maybe another low name. Fabio Wardley, I think they have to reassess where they go from here. Do they go for an actual contender, like an actual hard fight with one of the top dudes? Because he's rightfully in that place to do so. I don't know. Maybe they need to step back a bit, fight a big name rather than another contender. So this will be interesting to see where they both go from here. Great heavyweight fight, great action. That's all from me. I'm Junior Fa, ex-professional boxer. This is my channel. Like and subscribe. Let me know what I missed in the comments. See you guys next time.